G'day guys, Cam here from the Fish Room again, and in today's video we're going to be talking about collecting and curing driftwood from the beach. Alright team, thank you very much for joining us. If you've not been here before, we're an aquarium channel. We're talking about aquariums, tropical fish, aquatic plants and all sorts of things in between in that hobby. We are also an online aquarium store, so you can check us out at www.thefishroom.co.nz, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube as you're obviously watching it now, and on Instagram as well as the Fish Room NZ. So as I said, the topic today is collecting and curing your own driftwood. Something I've done many times before. I've collected all sorts of wood, so we're going to give you a few tips. So let's go outside and check out some of the wood I've got, and we'll go through it from there. Okay, so here's a collection of wood that I have acquired over the years, just basically collecting. It's one of the multiple piles that I have. So as you can see, when you collect wood, you can get all sorts of different shapes and sizes and grooves and stuff like that. And as you can also see, there is different colour within the wood. Colour is a really good indication of whether or not we should be using it or not. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds and let you think of which colour is good and which pieces are bad. Okay, so when you're finding driftwood down the beach, you're looking, basically trying to find some hardwood. So it's fairly easy to tell the difference between hardwood. Coloration is basically the first indication. You're looking for a far darker wood than a far lighter wood. So if we pause this video here, we'll chuck some numbers on it, and you guys tell me which ones you think are the softwood and which ones are the hardwood. So if you picked this one as a softwood, this one as a softwood, and this one as a softwood, you are right. The rest of them are hardwoods. Like I was saying before, you can tell by the coloration. You can see here there's a massive difference between the two colours. Also, they're a lot softer. This one here, you can pretty close to put my fingernail into it, whereas, say this one here for example, it's not going anywhere near it. So when you're collecting driftwood off the beach, look for coloration first, look for a dark coloured wood, and if you can dig your fingernail into it, it's not really going to be worth using in your aquarium. So the next thing you want to try and avoid when you are collecting wood is bits like this that have bark coming off it. You don't really want that, because you don't really want it disintegrating within your aquarium. Again, this is a softwood. It's soft, I'm assuming it's probably a pine, but it's got the bark coming off. You want pieces that don't have any bark on them. Nice hard wood, no bark on it. Same with that, there's no bark on it. So that's another thing you're looking for when you collect. You're looking for bits of bark. If you can rip them off, that's not too bad, but preferably try and get stuff without bark at all. So the next thing we're trying to avoid when we're collecting wood is rot. This one here, again, you can dig it away with your fingernail. It's probably not going to be suitable for what you want. Some is just a little bit, others rots all the way through, but as a general rule of thumb, if I can dig any kind of wood out of the wood that I'm collecting, it's just not worth keeping, and I just throw it back. So try and avoid rotting wood if you're going to put it in your aquarium. So last but not least, you're obviously looking for something that's going to actually fit your aquarium. There's no point in having a big piece of wood like this and a small nano aquarium like that. Far more suitable having something that size, or lots of small pieces that'll work for it. Doesn't necessarily mean that a big piece in a small tank isn't going to work or not going to look good, but if you're trying to get stuff to look well and good for scale, you're better off going slightly smaller with a few pieces than one horrific piece that's just going to take over an aquarium that type of size. Okay, so now we've collected our wood, let's talk about curing it. There's a lot of different methods, a lot of different things people think, or different ways of people doing it. It's probably a better way of putting it. For me, I just get my hose and I just wash any sand or muck that's on the wood off. From time to time I'll soak it in a tub. I've got plenty of them out here, and just let it be from there. From my understanding, nothing salt water can then live in fresh water, so if you do have some hitchhikers, you're not going to introduce parasites or nothing like that into your aquarium. But there are a lot of other different methods. A lot of people will water blast their, a lot of people will water blast the wood that they get. I've done that as well. Sometimes it picks up bits of bark you didn't see, or bits of rot and stuff like that, so it's worthwhile getting it and then throwing it away. Other people encourage people to boil their wood. Funny story that I have behind that, I once lent a big stock pot to a friend of mine who was going to boil some wood. He boiled this wood, he gave it back to me, I then cooked up some corned beef, and little did I know that he didn't wash it before he gave it back, and I didn't wash it before I used it, and so my corned beef had grains of salt all through it, and it was absolutely hideous. I have not forgotten that, Nathan, and I will get you back one day, don't you worry about that. So if you are going to use a stock pot, maybe I suggest keeping one specifically for this task. Sometimes your pieces of wood are too big and you can't actually fit them in a stock pot anyway, but that's definitely a recommendation people use. Other people say float them in bathtubs outside or containers outside, try and release all the tannins and the salt. Again, I'm not such a big warrior of that. Give it a quick blow off for the hose and stuff like that, and then chuck it in. I like the tannins in my aquarium for most of them. If I don't want the tannins, then I might soak it to get rid of it, but if I am pretty happy with the tannins, then it doesn't worry me none. I just chuck it in like that. And then follow up with a couple of water changes if the salinity changes. Often it doesn't. Normally just cleaning it and washing it with a hose is enough to actually blow any of the salt away from it and get rid of it. So that's kind of my advice when it comes to collecting your own driftwood for your own aquarium and how to clean it off. There's also other people that will completely dry it off and then soak it again. Again, it's not what I do, but if it works for you, it works for you, and that's the joy of this hobby. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it can't work for you. So just to summarize this video, we are looking for dark woods, not light woods, because they're a hardwood, and generally speaking a hardwood is better. We're trying to make sure there is no loose bark or anything like that on our wood, just like this one. We're using our finger to test it to make sure there's no rot as well. And we get something that is suitable for the sizing of our aquarium. As you can see, I've got multiple sizes, I've got multiple size aquariums. Once we get it home, we can give it a quick blast with a water blaster or just wash it in some fresh water. Other people enjoy chucking it into a pot of boiling water and cleaning it up that way, and some people like to just drain it in things like this to try and get the tannins out like that. All of these things are going to do the job you need it to do. It's up to you to choose which way you want to do it. There's no right, there's no real wrong way. Remember, parasites from salt can't go to fresh and vice versa, from my understanding. So you can be fairly safe to say that it's not going to cause you an issue either. So there you have it, a bit of a guide of collecting your own driftwood from the beach. Personally, before we go any further, I just want to mention that I don't often collect from the river, I'll collect from the beach, and that's because I do know that freshwater parasites can go from one to the other, and I don't want to introduce anything, so I generally speaking, if I'm going to collect my own driftwood, I collect from the beach and not from the river. If you've made it this far, you've obviously enjoyed the video, so please feel free to subscribe to our channel, share the video, and if you've got any comments, please bang them in down below. I'm more than happy to answer anything. I really hope this is helpful for you. I see a lot of people asking on various forums, how do you collect your own driftwood and what do you do for it and that kind of stuff, so I really hope that this can be helpful for lots of people. Alright guys, I'm going to go now. Have a good one, happy fish keeping, and catch you later.